Hi, my name is Phebe. I'm a credit counselor, credit repair. My company's called Credit Repair by Phebe LLC. What I do is basically get with individuals like yourself who's seeking credit counseling or credit repair. Anything on a credit bureau can be removed, updated, rewarded. Anything from collections, repossessions, foreclosures, late payments, inquiries, judgments, bankruptcies, anything and everything on a credit bureau can be disputed and corrected. What I offer at the same time of removing the duplications and old credit, especially accounts that are scoring as a 9. Basically, credit counts are scored between a 1 and a 9. 1 being the best, 9 being the worst, being the worst number to have. So, and that's basically derived what your credit score comes off of. I have about 16 different mortgage banks that uses me. I am locally in the St. Louis metropolitan area. I am local. I do work pretty much, I tell people, 7 days a week. I am accessible by phone pretty much 18 hours a day, either by my cell phone or my office. What I do is get with individuals, get a hold of their credit bureau, pretty much sit up a consultation with them. The first consultation is free. So once I sit down with a client, basically what I do is go over the credit report, find out what kind of goals you're looking to try to do, find out what happened in the past that may have hindered and hurt the actual credit. So I'm just trying to get an idea, and then of course look at the budget and everything like that, and try to figure out which way we can go on working with if there is any debt that has any balances. Because one thing we do is we do offer at the same time. Because a lot of companies out there are just removing credit. They are not actually getting to the root of the issue. And I tell people, you pay money for someone to do a job, and one thing is to repair credit. And the only way really to repair credit is things do have to be paid for, and it's the only way to get them off the credit and never come back. Because typically credit collection accounts are like a big market of what people are buying and selling. It's very easy after a couple months at one collection company, and then they get bought out by another collection company who buys that particular debt. There's like a big market for them. But what I do is once I get the credit report and we figure out what accounts you do owe, you can bring in, you can send me or bring in your bills, and we can look at it. Anything and everything's negotiable. Anything, even taxes. There's especially federal taxes. People don't realize that there's a lot of tax lawyers out there, but what they're doing is basically you can do it too. And that's another thing, is everything that I do when a client hires me, they can do themselves. I'm just going to be a little bit faster, more efficient, and I'm going to keep a pretty good paper trail for you. What we do on debts, basically, once we verify what accounts, what you owe on a collection account, installment loans, repossessions, mortgages, foreclosures, stuff like that. Basically, what it is, we can do what we call an offer compromise, or we actually basically try to get them to settle. We start at 5%. Depending on how old a collection account is, we are able to get them to settle for anywhere from 5 to 30% of what somebody owes. Just depends on what kind of collection account it is, how old it is, and how much it is, and everything like that. It just depends, because these collection companies, when they buy these, they do buy them at a pretty good amount. In some cases I've seen we've been able to settle like a $43,000 a deficiency balance of a vehicle that was actually totaled. It was a new truck that a gentleman had, but didn't have insurance. And of course, signing the dotted line on a contract, he owed the full bill, and it's 5 or 6 years down the line, and he's trying to get his life back on track, trying to buy a house. And this particular account is still haunting him. So what we did is basically sent in numerous papers back and forth, communicating with the creditor, and I was able to settle the account for $3,750. So, and he was able to take care of that in 3 payments. And that's the thing, is once we verify what accounts are on there, and if there is a balance due, we do start negotiating. And pretty much we do not say yes to anything of any payment arrangement or anything until you are on board, and we know that you figure out when a person can pay. Because a lot of times us people are living day to day, paycheck to paycheck, so it's very difficult in some cases to come up with a couple, even $100 extra with today's economy. So it's just knowing how to work with them. I am able to set up payment plans with creditors as low as $7 a month, to pay on account. They'll stop the interest and all that. It may take a while to pay this account, but at least you're not being sued. You're not being harassed on the phone. And actually, the account, once it's closed, once you pay the last payment and it's no longer an active account, by law, it can be removed off your credit legally, because it's no more. It's not if it's reporting anything negative, if it's not reporting anything positive. So it can be removed because it is considered a stress on the credit bureau and the credit score itself. And that's another thing, is if you're being harassed by several different creditors, we do get the phone calls to stop. State of Missouri has it, or basically, well, here, and I know in several different states, they have a thing called the cease and desist, and basically it's just sending some documentation to them, and let them know that you no longer wish for them to communicate with you by phone. This is including your phone, your family, friends, your job, and all of that, and they only can communicate with you by the U.S. Postal Service. So, and typically what happens, a lot of my clients will basically text me their information, say this is so and so. In most cases, I try to make sure I keep everybody's name in my phone, but they'll say this number is calling me, and all I need is just a phone number. I'll contact them, find out, find out the parameters, what it is they're calling for you, and everything like that. Ask for a fax machine number, and then basically go ahead and we will fax them what they call the cease and desist letter. And then in some cases, and then we'll call back and tell you what's going on. And then also we'll follow it up by a certified letter to that particular creditor to let them, and then we'll have proof that we did send something to them. Because in some cases, you are able to collect for harassment, and that is basically if they have that cease and desist letter, they're not allowed to call you anymore. And that's kind of an offer. And also, there's a lot of things we can do if you don't believe, if you've identity theft. I have so many clients who's got cell phone bills, credit cards, car loans. I have a client that I worked on not too long ago that basically his 4-year-old daughter lives in Detroit, Michigan, and he lives here, and he gets her every other summer basically. And this past summer, they got a phone call. Now she's 4 years old. Grandma answers, and his mom answered the phone while she's visiting, and he wanted to talk to her, and I wanted to know if they can talk to her. And he's like, well, who is this, she asked, and they're like, well, this is Chase, I'm sorry, this is Chrysler. We're calling about the Dodge Charger car payment that she's past due 3 months now. And I can just tell you that it was pretty much a wake-up call to the family to know that, you know, that the mom had put the car in the daughter's name. So, and back up to a couple years ago, it was pretty easy to do this. I'm sure there's still doing it all over, but with the new red flag laws and everything, it's a little bit more difficult to do these things. So, but my services are very easy. It doesn't matter if you're in state of Missouri or out of state. I have about 20 different states that I have clients in. My fee is $450 for an individual, $550 for a couple, and pretty much the moment that a person hires me, we go to work for them. You see results as fast as 2 to 3 weeks, and what that means is that basically everything we do comes back to you from the credit bureau. And what keeps my process going is every time you get a collection letter or a phone call or new credit bureaus, I just need to get my hands on them and look at them and go to the next level. So it depends on how severe one's credit is. We're able to get them to be able to buy a house or a car. Actually, another thing is I will help the person get a couple credit cards to establish new credit. So there's a whole bunch that we do to get somebody into be able to do their financial goals. So if you like, you can give me a call. My office is area code 636-410-9337, or you reach me on my cell phone, which is area code 314-605-5385. And my website is creditrepairbyphebe.com, and that gives you my address in St. Charles location. So feel free to call me, have any questions, and God bless. Thanks.